Instead of coming home, we plan what we need to do with the retirement money. What do? I misuse my money, then I come back home
Empty-handed.
empty. Form of economic abuse. Affecting a lot. So those are some of the abuses that happens in an intimate partner violence. But I cannot insist enough that emotional and psychological and manipulative and controlling, which are other emotional, is really happening in our relationship. There's a lot of controlling, and what happens in emotional, I enter into your mind, and what happens to the person being abused, they open the jars of their secret, and the partner holds their mind, and so that way they are able to control. That is
captive.
You are now a captive. That is why you realize a partner lives with fear, and they were socialized to live with that fear by the other partner. They're even denied access to even have friends. The partner is controlling who you're talking to. It's still a form of emotional abuse. Where you're going, you can't even go to your family. I had a case scenario where a partner, they would go to their homes to visit their family, but they would sit together. He or she could not leave the hand. Why? We would think they are in love.
Yeah, because if you are holding my hand throughout, you love me.
Do you know what was happening?
No.
I don't want you to go and talk to your to your family members, because a partner who is abusing you want to take in charge of you, and so they would like to shield you so that you don't go and share with anyone. Because remember, their idea, make sure that they are in charge of your mind. So anytime they see like you want to wake up and say something, actually you are reminded you are the bad one. So you will never talk, you will never stand and talk about yourself. They control even how you dress. They are the people who will tell you whether you like it or not, whether that outfit you like it. I will control how you dress, what you watch, what you think, what you say. And we have so many partners who have been controlled. Some people say it is witchcraft. I don't know, because I'm a Christian. But from a psychological point of view, it's manipulative and controlling. I have control. You have to pretend you're good out there.
You mask it.
Oh, yes. And especially, allow me to speak to Christians, And I know this comes out because of fear, Because Christians, we were taught that with God, all things are possible. Faith and all that, which is very, very good. Out of that, things are not working at home. What do? We come and mask, because we don't want to look like we don't have faith. Mm-hmm. We don't want to look like we are not prayerful and all that. But I always tell Christians, please talk about it if you see things are not right. Because if you look at what is happening, so many Christians are developing mental illness because of masking. You can't mask for long.
You can't. There will come a time that all things will fall apart.
Exactly. But you see, again, when my marriage is not working and I tell my fellow Christian, what do they tell me? Mm-hmm. They'll judge me. They'll tell me, let's pray about it. And finally, I will die. And I tell people, you may not die because you've been stabbed by a knife. Mm-hmm. But you will die because mentally you are wearing down. Then physically, you're projecting diseases. That is how people are dying slowly out of abuse. And it's okay to say it's not working. We've gotten to a point where we can say it's not working.
It's okay to say you are not okay.
Yes, it's okay
to say it.
we shouldn't fear anymore.
Yes,
We shouldn't.
we shouldn't.
If it's not working, it's not working.
It's not working.
And if you say maybe we can look for ways, and this one I'll say with raw tone, that if it gets where you have to separate, separate.
Give yourself some time.
Yes.
Some breathing space.
Exactly. Because we need you whole. And again, because of, we are talking about gender-based violence, our kids, sometimes what we lie to ourselves, especially when we are going through emotional abuse, we lie to ourselves that I am doing this for my children. I'm hiding my children. I don't want my children to grow without their father, without their mother. You know, those children who grow in toxic relationship are worse than those children who grow with one parent who is sober, happy, and emotional stable. And this is a research done. And children see, they see when marriage is not working. But because of their children, they don't know what to say. They don't. I can't tell my mother,
No.
move.
You
But
can't.
it's affecting my mind. Then I've worked in all my internship, I've worked in Committee Maximum, both the Midro and Life. And I have also, my PhD, I did it at Rangata Women. And most of the things that they tell me, like 90%, most children, those who perpetrate those offenses, came from dysfunctional marriages where it is full of abuses. As part of coping, because it's very painful, they have to cope. They had to look for negative coping mechanism.
They have to vent what is very, very heavy on them.
Yes.
Like we usually say, getting things out of your chest. You vent them out, but most of them are not. They're just swallowing them and keeping them, suppressing them. We can go on.
Yeah, so that is about intimate partner violence. Then let's come to sexual violence. And I know we've talked about this in another forum.
Yes.
And in sexual violence, like I had said, but now I'll come to gender-based violence because I really want to tell people, especially parents, so many children are going through sexual violence, defilement. But parents, because of, again, we are being abused, we're not providing platform for our children to share. And there are many types of defilement. It doesn't have to be maybe penetrative. Okay? There's the grooming. Nowadays, there's a lot of pornography. Our kids can access pornography. The other day, I had a case in our institution where the perpetrator was 3 years. You know, I kept also looking, because I have a baby who is 8 years. I kept asking, okay, so my baby knows everything. And so, after a lot of probing, because that got us, he was also the baby, this 3 years is a baby.
He's a baby.
So he was being sodomized by the house girl. And they used to watch pornography together. So the baby already is sexualized. So anytime he sees other two young children coming, he wants to put his finger on those young girls.
He wants to do what has been done.
Exactly. A lot is happening in our homes. You see, now this is a house girl. They watch pornography. She has sexualized those children. And because as a parent, I'm also going through a lot, because I'm going through abuse. Do I have time even to listen to anyone? What do we say when we meet as women? My children, they love their house girl. Even they eat when they can't eat. And I tell parents, when you find yourself using that statement, sit down and ask yourself another question.
Ask yourself a question.
Exactly. That you are very comfortable. Your child is very close to the house girl and not you.
You have been rendered useless or irrelevant.
And you're happy telling people. Look at that bond. And I'm saying this because this is what we do every day where I work. And if I can share to you many experiences, you'll be shocked. What am I saying? Out of that experience, I think that's why we go throughout the country telling parents, first of all, deal with you, listen to your children. Some children will not talk. When they get to teenagers, because they are sexualized, those are the children now will start abusing other. When they go to high school, they are doing all manner. We have a lot of lesbian, gay, and all that. And I am not here to talk about that, but some are coming because of what they have watched at home and they have gone through. So that is sexual violence. Even adults go through sexual violence. Whether you are an adult or a child, you should be able to seek for help and talk about it.
Yes.
Because what
help is available.
Yeah, and you know what it does. Sexual violence does. It robs the humanity in you. Whether you are adult, if it's a violence, it robs the humanity in you, and so it will affect you. So the best thing you can do is to get for help, and help is available
a lot of it.
Yes, help is.
We are here.
Yeah, exactly, to help you deal with those issues. And so those are just type of violences, and I would have forgotten the spiritual type of violence. Oh my God. This one is where, and with a lot of disclaimer, because we may be partners and we decide to worship in different churches. It's okay, different religion. But if I am forced to, especially to join a cult, and because I have no say, then that becomes form of abuse. You know? So when you realize that this is not what you want, but because there's a lot of force and you're forced to join these, then it's time to think and seek for help. Because there will be other forms of violence that will come in there if you don't seek for help or if you don't talk about it. So there are a lot of abuses happening, as you can see, and it's time we talk about it. And it's time we say culture is good, and some of this culture is very backward. For example, I talked about harmful traditional practices, like widow inheritance. That one now is something that is way back.
And it's not your choice. You're not asked for any
That's
consent.
why it's a gender-based violence. Female genital mutilation.
Mutilation, yes.
It's still coming back. We used to talk about FGM in other counties, hard to reach areas. In Central, it's there. It's because there are many cults that have come up, and there are many traditional things that we are bringing back. I don't know what is happening. Probably we need to do a research. What is happening? We are bringing a lot of cultural things that were done in the past, and we are bringing them now. And we are even associating them with the illnesses that this is something that I had. I'm not sure about it. That some of these cancer, the reason why the cancers are back is because we don't sacrifice to the dead, and we refused to go through FGM as women. So I'm not very sure, but I had, because I didn't wanted to know what is happening.
Misconceptions.
Yes.
Yes.
So we need now to tell our people there's no relationship between FGM and cancer. Or there is no relationship, or sacrificing those. And I don't want to talk about that because I'm not an expert of that. But I'm saying there are a lot of issues that we need to question before we believe. We need to question. But going back to our topic, we need to ask ourselves, by the time I'm getting into a relationship, do I see some red flags and I refuse? Because these abuses we are talking about, even before, especially for partners, we see them.
Even before we start staying together.
Exactly. But we tend to close our mental mind. Or sometimes we even say they will change. Changing as an adult, I'll tell you the truth, it's very hard. You cannot change an adult. What I tell people, what happens, they graduate to have degrees. So we need to tell our people there's no hurry. If you feel, I always say, better a broken engagement than a broken relationship or marriage. Broken marriage is very painful. Broken engagement is also painful, but you can go through it. But you see, a broken marriage involves a lot. There's a lot.
And there are other people who are there. There are
the children, the family,
families,
everyone, your colleagues and all that. So it's good. I know we'll talk about red flags another time. Today we're talking about gender-based violence, but it's good to mention that on the right note.
Okay.
At our workplace, there are also issues of gender-based violence. Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is very common in workplaces, and it comes in different forms. It can be winking, it can be, the way I talk to you, especially when I'm talking to you and I am attacking probably your physique, if I am this naughty, it's still harassment. When I talk about your body parts, and again, we also have other types of sexual harassment where for me to get a promotion, I have to give in sexually. It could be, my boss could be a man or a woman. It's very common. And these are some of the things that we are saying we need to move out.
I've also heard in some academic institutions.
Yes, sexual transmitted grades. They're very common. Sexual transmitted grades. You don't go to class, but when I give you favors, sexual favors, you can give me grades. And now this goes to our children. Because they feel like it's a favor. It's not a favor. Then we need to ask, why are we not going to class? Probably the person who's making me not go to class is still the same lecturer. I think it's wide.
It's wide.
It's wide.
Yes.
Even the punishment between the parent to the child.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I know what the Bible says, I'm aware that we need to show our children the way, we need to discipline them, but there's a difference between disciplining and punishing.
Yes.
Disciplining your child, yes, you could inflict pain, but you're also guiding them. That is disciplining. But when you punish, when you're beating like you want to kill, that's a punishment. You know what you're doing? You're making this child to become hardcore. And that is again a form of gender-based violence. And sometimes I also tell parents, probably why you're punishing them, it could be there's something inside you that you want to remove. Because as parents, we should be disciplining our children, but not punishing them. And vice versa. We are seeing so many children abusing their parents, even physically. So we also need to know what is happening in the society. So, Jane, the topic of gender-based violence is wide.
It's wide. I want to add one as we now get to the next level, so that we can move on. There is this one of differentiation. You have a boy, you have a girl, or you have both are girls or both are boys, but you prefer one to the other. Emotionally, I feel that is still violence, because, like I had a parent calls one a good name, like a dear or darling. The other one is called Becky by their name. And then when something happens, then one cried, and then the mother said, darling. Then the girl said, it's not darling, it's me. So she knows that she's not that preferred person. So you prefer one to the other. That is it. Now we move to looking at, we have talked about the forms. These forms give birth to effects. Kindly tell us share with us a few of those results of violence.
Okay. I talked about mental illness.
Yes.
And I will repeat, that is the first form of, and we are seeing it has become rampant. And mental illness here, I'm not talking about psychotic.
No.
It's still part of mental disorders and all that. But before we get to mental disorders, we become mentally ill. We are so stressed. When we are so stressed, it affects our daily activities.
True.
It affects the way we carry ourselves, the way we eat, the way we talk to others, the way we perform our daily tasks. You realize I'm not able to work to be that best employee. I'm not a good sister. I'm not a good brother. It changes the person who I was. And people sometimes, because we don't talk about gender-based violence, keep on asking, what could be happening? What happened to our brother? What happened to our sister? She changed. She changed because, and it's not personality, but behavior. It's because of what I'm going through. Because it has already distorted my mind. So that is one. The other one is physical illness. You are always in and out of the hospital. In and out of the hospital. That is a major effect, including the lifestyle, the hypertensive, some of these diabetes, many things that within the illnesses that we can attack. But because we are not talking about it, it manifests.
Yes.
HIV, part of the illness, you see, because I'm going through a lot. What do? I become promiscuous. I even don't take care of myself. Because by the end of the day, I was told I'm useless, I'm hopeless. So why should I take care of myself when I'm useless and hopeless? So anyone, and this is very tricky. You see, because you've not been, let me talk about home setup. Whether to children, whether to couples. Everyone wants to have a belonging. You want to feel loved and appreciated. Whether I'm the child, whether I'm the couple. So when there is no that belonging and appreciation and love, we tend to look for love outside there. For children, they will look for love maybe in drugs, in all manner of negative, in sex. They will look for that kind of love because we are social beings. For couples, we may look love from different sources. Could be maybe from drugs and substance. We've seen, even in Christian setup, Jenna, I've seen so many people have become alcoholic and they're in church. It's because of what they are going through. Women, we will go look for different men. So you see, health-wise, I may now develop unwanted pregnancies, abortion now as a ripple effect, HIV, STIs. So there is a lot of that, including death. We have seen death out of gender-based violence, and there are many deaths.
And death by suicide.
Death by suicide, homicide. Because even if I close the road today because I am mentally, and I can't even see cars from both sides. You see, that's because I'm mentally stressed. Let's say that. Let me say this. One time, this is for me, I was so stressed. I was really, really stressed. I was going through something. And I remember I left home with a stocking and slippers. And I'm at the stage with a handbag.
Are you going to work?
I'm going to work. Slippers and stocking. Do you know it took one conductor? Realized, unaona wale those boys, I don't know what they are called, those who they are not
at
going
the stage.
at the stage
The
because I have lipstick. That way is how we realize we are stressed, and if he didn't talk to me, even me, I was shocked.
To see you are in slippers
and stocking,
black and lipstick.
One, yes, and a very good dress.
And you looked at yourself in the mirror.
When you're stressed, mirror is not very important.
Okay.
It's not very important because it may remind you, and you don't want, because you're already depressed. And you see, the depression, people don't. It's not written here.
It's not.
It's inside.
Yes.
So you find you're doing things. So it took that. I always tell people that story because that young man really kept on looking at me. I think he was also disturbed.
And you're wondering, why is this young
And
man?
then the matatus would come, and then I want to enter, then I am clacking my, then you see, this mama must be
This must be
something wrong. And that is when he asked me whether I have seen I have slippers. That's when I looked. Seriously, I have slippers. I went home, back home.
And you touch your head?
That's when I even touched my head. And I realized I have stalking. And I went back to the house and I cried. Because again, when you are depressed, anything small, you become irritable, teary. Nothing makes you happy. And most of these things are coming from our homes. That's why we have to really talk about gender-based violence. And we should not feel ashamed to look for help.
True.
And I was a counselor, by the way, because I've been a counselor for close to 20 years.
A counselor is a human being.
That's what I wanted to say. I was a counselor. And I'm also going through stressful situations. Yes.
Wow. Now, our time is really rushing.
Sure.
And I would want us to, before we close, we look at some of the help that is available for these people. We have looked at some of the symptoms. We have looked at some of the forms. So, what are some of what help is available? Yes.
I think I want, first of all, to say, as a country, we have really moved. There are things that we have policies in place, for issues of gender-based violence, and I'm very happy. Like now, if you go to most level 4 hospitals, you'll find counselors who can help you, and some of the issues of gender-based violence are free.
Yes.
Are free. So you can go talk about it. At a national level, we have the hotline. National 1195. So that's a hotline you can call. You don't have to go and tell them how you're feeling. That is a national hotline for gender-based violence, especially the intimate partner. For children, we have the 116.
Yes.
Yes. Children who can call in issues of when they are going through issues of gender-based violence, and they can report and they can be directed. I think after this, I'll also give you a different toll-free lines where people can call. So nowadays, you don't even have to travel and just vent. Because what people want is just to vent in those toll-free lines and vent.
Yeah.
So the other help is, I know we have the churches that are very strong on issues of mental health, where we have psychologists, you can talk to them. But the bottom line, if you're going through this, don't feel shame. I know shame and guilt is what makes us not look for help. Look for help. Talk to someone. A problem shared is half solved.
Yes.
But of course, talk to a trusted person.
Yes.
You don't want to dance naked in front of everyone. Then we go and say how we saw your nakedness. You have to see, who is this that I'm dancing naked in front of?
True.
So help is available.
Available.
Yeah.
And to add on to the help that is available, I've seen in many government institutions, many offices, they have counselors.
Yes.
And those are available.
Yes.
So if it is at the workplace, you have a place where you can go and seek help. Actually, we have counselors in different departments, in different counties.
Yes.
That one I am aware that they are there. And it is very important for our viewers to know that there is help. There are the hotlines, there are numbers that you can call, and also at your workplaces there are counselors.
True. I agree with you. Speak out.
Yes, speak out.
Yeah, speak out.
Stop
Yeah.
gender-based violence.
Yeah, we speak out, we stop gender-based violence. Speak out.
Yes.
Don't feel shame or guilt. It is your life and you have no any other life. Speak out.
We come to close of this session that is so impactful, so informative. And as we always say, we are sharing this information for all of us to become healthier. What is your parting shot?
Well, my parting shot is, first of all, I'm happy that we can discuss these issues. And the other parting shot is to tell people out there, help is available. It is not your mistake, you know. You shouldn't feel like there's anything that you have done to be abused. No, you haven't. The person abusing you is the one who should be feeling shame and guilt. You have no mistake that you have done. So speak out, look for help.
I can't thank you more. Thank you so much, Becky, for this information. And as we come to the close, I'm just reminded in my mind that there are those people who say, I am an introvert, so I don't usually talk much. You don't have to talk so much. Help is available. Come to where that help is available. Call the person that you are talking to, the professional you are talking to, the psychologist, the counselor will be able to work with you. They are trained. They know what to do. And I am very happy, and you can see the smile that I have on my face, that this information, we have been able to share it so that it can help the families that we have, that it can help our workplaces, us at our workplaces, and any other environment that we are at. And, you know, some of our children will go visit some families that are also dysfunctional, and then they also learn from there. So it is very important that this we are able to share. And one thing that I would like to say as before we close is that even during these festivities that we are having, we are coming to the end of the year. And it is very important that we know that some of these violence that our children may get, our husbands may encounter, our wives may encounter, our partners may encounter, we be alert at this time, because there may be so hidden, so secretive, so subtle, and we need to speak out. I'll not add any other. I'll say thank you so much for watching, and you can follow us on our social media platform that will be displayed, and you'll be able to follow us, and we'll continue sharing more information that can help you, your life. But for now, I say thank you so much. God bless you, and enjoy your day.